I think that women today, like in the media, I think they're very over-sexualized, and like people, like when Miley Cyrus like gets up at the VMAs and she's half naked and people love it, like I think a lot of TV shows, and not even like necessarily TV shows on MTV or anything, like Game of Thrones, everything is way over-sexualized. The majority of the women are like sexual objects, but you do have some good examples, like New Girl, they like to really put a lot of like feminist spin on that. So I think you do have some good examples, but for the most part, it's a lot of over-sexualized, like sensational, bad life choices.
Women our age are highly sexualized, and that as a result, we sort of feel this urge to be just as sexualized as them in order to receive some kind of benefit or satisfaction from that, which may or may not actually result in real life. But I also think on the flip side, it depends, right? Because on the one hand, they're highly sexualized, and then on the other hand, there's this great sort of romantic notion about being our age. Like, you're young, you're carefree, you can do whatever you want. There's a great line right at the beginning of the Mindy Project where she's like, I spent my entire life watching like romantic comedies. And like it totally influences how she looks at herself and how she looks at all the women around her. And like, so guilty. Like, I watched romantic comedies growing up, and like, of course I want to be like the beautiful, funny, kind of quirky, awkward one who gets the guy in the end, right? So I feel like we're sort of pulled between these two opposing forces. One is being highly sexualized, and the other is being sort of romantic and getting the guy in the end.
I think that women are over-sexualized and also never shown in sort of a natural state, and that even when they're supposed to be sad or just waking up in the morning or at a stressful work environment, they always have a lot of makeup on, and their hair is always perfect, and their clothes always match and don't usually go along with whatever activity they're doing. So I think women are sort of held to perfect standards which are not realistic.
The thing that bothers me the most about women our age in popular culture is the objectification of our bodies, and how you see way more half-naked women on TV commercials, especially people who love the NFL like me. It's like really, really frustrating to see women scantily clad constantly, and then you never see that with men.
Well, I think there is a lot of hypersexualization of women in popular culture, but I think that strides are being taken to sort of lessen that sexualization. For example, there's this test called the Bechdel test, which was formulated by a graphic novel writer named Alison Bechdel, and basically it rates movies based on their representation of female characters. For example, if there are female characters at all, if there are named female characters, if there are female characters who interact with each other, and if they interact with each other about things other than their relationships with men. And Sweden actually just started publicizing the Bechdel test ratings for the movies produced in Sweden or released in Sweden. So I think that's a good sign.
I think that women are more highly criticized for both their achievements and for their failures, where men, they focus more on their successes.
I think that women our age, at least, are definitely objectified like women who are older in pop culture, but I think that the women who are older are looked at as more mature and more as role models, just because they're more involved in like giving back to the greater community, and they have a better reputation rather than people our age. Like, well, Taylor Swift has a good reputation, and but Miley Cyrus doesn't necessarily have one. So I think that the people our age in pop culture are striving to obtain this like higher status, but they're doing it in a very wrong way, which is making themselves objectified rather than having someone else do it for them.
Modern television shows like The Mindy Project or New Girl do a good job at reflecting driven women who have careers and who have goals in their life, much like many college students today, but I do think that they focus too much on like finding a boyfriend, getting married, having kids, which is just really not necessary, and I don't think that women need to always be portrayed like in the light of having a man to make them happy.